Emotional intelligence, a quality that makes up every good leaders, a concept that made popular by psychologists to determine the ability to show sympathy and understanding toward the feelings of other people and yourself. This is an essential trait that helps you build trust and maintain relationships with people. Those with higher emotional intelligence are better at understanding emotions, showing empathy, and controlling the emotions of their own. It is believed that EQ matters more than IQ when it comes to professional success. It is the key to a fulfilling life that provides you with a huge influence on people. Emotional intelligence is a trait that every successful person must have. But what if I tell you that it's all wrong? Emotional intelligence itself is a false concept, and it might not even exist. This video is inspired by an article of Professor Edwin Locke from University of Maryland and a lecture by Professor Jordan Peterson from University of Toronto. Alright. So before getting deeper into the reason that I don't believe in emotional intelligence, let's first uncover what it means. Emotional intelligence is defined as the ability to understand and manage your emotions. It is also the ability to identify, communicate with, and empathize with other people. So the concept was first mentioned in Gartner's multiple intelligence theory, and it was further discussed in a study by Peter Salovey and John Mayer. In this study, the two authors suggest that there are four components that make up emotional intelligence. The first one being perceiving emotions, which is understanding and detecting the emotions by body language or facial expressions. The second one being reason with emotions, which is thinking through and integrate with your emotions. The third one being understanding emotions, which is knowing the cause of your emotion, knowing the meaning behind your emotions, and the last one is manage the emotion. So this study and later studies of the two authors have a consistent theme stating that emotional intelligence is the key to personal and professional success. Later on in 1995, a book called Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman really popularized the term. In the book, Daniel Goleman states four key factors contributing to emotional intelligence. First one being self-awareness, the ability to identify your emotion and understand the influence of your emotion. The second one being self-management, the ability to control your emotions and regulate your thoughts and feelings toward an end result. The third one being social awareness, which is recognizing and showing empathy toward other people. And the last one is relationship management, which is using the emotions of other people to direct and make an impact on social interaction. As the two most popular sources for the idea of emotional intelligence, Mayer and Salovey as well as Goleman's definitions are pretty much similar. They even overlap at some points. However, there are still differences in terms of how the concept is defined, and that is my first reason for why I don't believe in emotional intelligence. As I've mentioned before, emotional intelligence really lack a universal definition. This means that different people understanding this concept slightly differently from other people, even though we all agree that it has something to do with understanding your own emotion, controlling your emotions, and showing sympathy to other people. But this small inconsistency in definition really disqualifies emotional intelligence as a reliable concept as well as a predictor of anything, which leads to the statement saying that people with high emotional intelligence are more successful than other people, being a complete BS. In fact, studies have shown that people with lower level of agreeableness tend to be more successful professionally, especially in managerial roles, because they are more competitive, they are more goal-oriented, they are more driven, and they care less about other people. And yeah, maybe listening to all your employees doesn't really make you a good manager. Emotional intelligence is not a form of intelligence. In fact, they are all skills, and skills are not the same as intelligence. A highly intelligent individual can learn a skill much faster than others. They also have the ability to differentiate between very similar emotions like jealousy or envy much better Imagine a race. People with high intelligence are gonna finish first because they go there faster. The same goes with skills. You learn the skills much faster. Detecting emotion is a skill. Understanding emotions is a skill. Controlling your emotion is a skill. And also, communication is a skill too. People with higher intelligence are better at picking up these skills. However, with constant practice, people with lower IQ can also pick up these skills, but they will be slower. As Professor Edwin Locke said, it's simply arbitrary to attach the word intelligence to a certain habit or skills. Inconsistency within the factor making up emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence consists of understanding the emotion of yourself and others, as well as controlling and acting appropriately toward those emotions. This is where emotional intelligence contradicts itself. Recognizing emotions and sympathizing with other people have nothing to do with how you act toward them. A person might know extremely well what you're feeling, but they can choose to do nothing about it. Or they might make you feel even worse. So is that person a high or low EQ person? You can't say either, right? Because a low EQ person do not understand how you feel that deeply, but a high EQ person do not act in that manner. And also choosing how to act towards something, in this case, emotions, is the matter of free will. It's a matter of what they choose to do. And understanding emotion doesn't mean that you're controlling it or acting appropriately. So what I've been saying is that the factor making up emotional intelligence is completely uncorrelated, which means that they do not have any relationship or connection to each other. Because of this contradiction, it's impossible to test or measure the emotional intelligence of anyone. Also, don't believe in those online tests that say, measure your emotional intelligence to see how successful you are. Nah. Women are better at identifying emotions. As we are on the topic of emotions, do you know that women are biologically better at identifying emotions than men? The reason is that they focus more on the details when they perceive things. For example, when they first see another person, they will focus on their lips, their eyes, their nose, or even their facial expressions. Whereas men, when they first meet a person, they see that person as a whole. They have a generalized image of that person in their head. So does this mean that women are more professionally successful than men? Probably not. The reality and the studies even show the opposite, because they are probably more agreeable than men, and their choice of what's important to them are much different from men. So once again, emotional intelligence does not mean and does not predict anything. Given those reasons, I don't believe in emotional intelligence. But reality is that there are people who still believe that it's true, and reading and learning about it does help them improve their social skill and become a better individual. This brings up question of whether it is important or not to point out false concepts like emotional intelligence, the concept that is made up by the self-help industry. At the end of the day, it is making good impact, right? Well, I don't think so. I believe that it's important to point out such false concept like that because it creates false belief. And one of the biggest myths that emotional intelligence creates is that emotional intelligence does not equal success. Does the factor making up emotional intelligence contribute to success? Yes, but are they the sole factor that contributing to success? Are they the key factor contributing to success? And that's why it gets problematic, because emotional intelligence really fool everyone to think that if you increase your social skills, if you communicate better, if you negotiate better, if you treat people better, if you listen to people better, you're gonna be successful. And that is completely invalid. It is completely wrong. In reality, the two factors that contributing the most to success is IQ and conscientiousness. IQ means that you're more intelligent, and more intelligent people get to where they want faster. And believe it or not, it is quite impossible to increase your IQ, but there are ways to prevent your IQ from decreasing. Sleep, exercise, your diet. Now, conscientiousness is different. You can improve that, even though it's pretty hard, but it's possible. Conscientiousness is a personality trait that relates to being organized, being punctual, being disciplined, thoughtful, detailed and goal-oriented. There are ways to improve conscientiousness to set a specific goal and build micro habits to get toward the goal. And also following schedule and making plans for your days are good practices too. It is clear by now that I do not believe in emotional intelligence. But at the end of the day, the skills and the advice that it offers are important. They do contribute to personal and professional success. Is emotional intelligence a complete BS? Yeah. But are social skills, communications, and self-control valuable? Yeah. I do not want to discourage you to improve the way you talk to people, you negotiate things, you communicate with people. I do not want to discourage you from improving the ability to deal with and to manage your difficult emotions. Those are very good skills to have. And beyond everything, I don't want you to believe that success is determined solely on IQ and your personality. Those are just two of multiple factors that contribute towards success. Focus on what you can control and leave the uncontrollable out of the equation. Make the best out of your situation. Make the best out of this bitter and miserable world that's full of sufferings. That's how you make meanings. And that's how you live a meaningful life. Well, that's it for me for today's guys. If you have any thoughts on emotional intelligence, please don't hesitate to comment down below. I would love to hear your opinion and chat with you a little bit. Well, have a meaningful day. Bye bye.